No pressure, right? Good evening, everyone. As Coco mentioned, my name is Dulce. I will be the moderator this evening. Thank you to all of you for being present, but thank you to the audience for being present as well, as this forum is for you. Just to go over some rules, I'm going to be reading through the rules. I'm going to ask that you be respectful of the rules throughout the entire forum. And so I'm just going to start reading them off right now. So, debate rules. The first one. Each candidate will be allowed 1-minute introductions. Candidates will present in alphabetical order. In this case, we'll start from Ward 1 going up until Ward 7. A yellow flag, which Felix has right over here, if you can flag it up, will be displayed 45 seconds in, so when you have 15 seconds remaining. A red flag, Felix, you want to show us the red flag, will be displayed when your time is finished. In addition to that, Felix, you want to show them the horn? We've got a horn. If you go past the 1 minute, we just ask that you be respectful, but Felix will blow the horn after the 1 minute. That's the first one. Moderator, myself, will be asking the questions which have been submitted anonymously by voters in the community through the Lynn Community Association SurveyMonkey questionnaires. And the questions will start going from the first ward, jumping into the third. So question 1 will start with Councilor Lozzi. Question 2 will start with Councilor Sear, and so on and so forth, up until we get to the 7th question, which will be started by Councilor Jay Walsh. So that's number 2. Each candidate will have up to 60 seconds, 1 minute to answer the question. The red and yellow flags are on this side with Felix. If a candidate makes a remark which is directed towards another specific candidate, that candidate will then have 45 seconds to respond or rebut. And then the yellow and red flag will be kept in that same procedure. After about 65 minutes of questions and answers between all of the questions, each candidate will then reverse in order and make an additional 1 minute closing. So 1 minute to open, 1 minute to close, 1 minute for your answers to each one of the questions. After that, we will have a period of yes and no questions, which I will explain the rules. Pretty straightforward, no speaking. You're going to pull up the yes if you agree with what I'm saying, or you're going to put up the no if you don't agree with what I'm saying. And I'll go over that as soon as we get into that part as well. Any questions? Okay.
The questions are here.
And the questions are over there as well to make it easier for you as well. Thank you. All right. So we are starting with the introductions. So why don't we have, Mr. Lozzi, do we have a microphone? That's your microphone. 1 minute introductions between everybody. If you want to start, Felix will start with the timekeeper, and we'll just move the microphone over. So, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, LCA, and the audience members here tonight for attending. My name is Wayne Mosby. I'm the Ward 1 Councilor. I'm a lifelong resident of Lynn. I'm married to the former Captain Bresnahan. We raised our children here. They attended public schools. I currently work for the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. I've been a counselor for 16 years. I believe that public service is an honor and a privilege, and it's made possible by hard-working people that live in this city, in this great city. And I'm honored to be here tonight to participate in this debate, and I'll cut that short. Thank you.
Thank you. I was thank the LCA for inviting us here tonight. My name is Darren Sitter. I'm the Ward 3 City Councilor. I've been a councilor for 14 years. In that time, I'm a real hands-on kind of person. They're on a plow, you call me, and you need your street plow in the wintertime. I'm there. It's not DPW. A tree falls, I'm there to cut it off the sidewalk. Souls have been flooded, I'm there to pump it out. I've lived in my life my entire life, 60 years. My kids are 7th generation graduating from A1 school, graduates of Lynn Public Schools. My wife grew up, she had 13 brothers and sisters from the Dorian family. They lived in West Lynn. She moved over to Easton, which I think is the better side of the city. And I'm getting a flag, so I just would be considered for Council Ward 3. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, LCA. My name is George Remetes.
Ward 3 candidate running for councilor. I am currently, I serve on the Lynn Council on Aging for many years, helping the seniors. My wife works in the Lynn Public Schools. Right now, I'm finishing my law degree. This is my last semester in law school. I got a bachelor's in business, and I'm here trying to serve better Lynn and running, hopefully I can get elected as councilor for Ward 3.
Hi, I'm Richard Lucy. I'm the town Ward 4 councilor, lifelong resident of Lynn. I'm married to Carolina Tavares Calucci from the Dominican Republic. I've been serving over 20 years. I know what I'm doing. I have the experience to do it, accessible and responsive, and I appreciate the vote. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Natasha Meji Madri, and I am running for councilor in Ward 4. Now, first of all, I would like to thank LCA for having this and everybody who had a part in putting this together, because I'm sure it takes a lot of hands and a lot of people to put on an event like this. And I really appreciate that, because it's really important so that people know who they're voting for. I also appreciate all of you for being here, because, like I said, to be an informed voter, that's what it's all about. And that is what I wanted to say, that I really appreciate that. Now, I've lived in Lynn for 21 years. I grew up in Dorchester. I went to Regis College. After Regis College, I went to New England School of Law. I have 5 wonderful children. They are ages 12 through 23. My daughter just turned 21. And the reason I'm running for city council is because I believe that I can use my education to make a difference, and I want to work for you. And I hope that you are willing to give me a chance. Thank you.
Just want to thank the LCA for having us here tonight and putting this together. I'm Diana Chakutis. I am the Ward 5 counselor. I am also a lifelong resident of Lynn. I went to Lynn Public Schools, raised my children in here. They graduated from Lynn Public Schools. I enjoy being the Ward 5 counselor, and I hope continue to be the Ward 5 counselor. And I'm just asking for your vote.
Hello everyone, my name is Marvin Hippolyte. First off, I want to thank the LCA for having us, and you guys are really cool because you always have really cool snacks and good snacks and real cool venue, so thank you so much for that. I'm running for Ward 5 City Council for a 3rd time because I feel as though we need to have all voices being heard. Right now we're watching our rents go up. They've gone up 27% in the past 3 years. Our property taxes are going up, and not all voices are being heard because we're not doing outreach in all our city's languages. As councilor, I promise to make myself accessible by doing monthly rotating meetings in every part of the ward, and also doing outreach to everyone, no matter who you are, where you live, what language you speak. I humbly ask for your support this November 5th, and thank you so much for being here.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Cinda Don, and I'm a candidate for Ward 6 City Councilor. Lifelong resident of Lynn, I grew up in Curran Circle and now live on 13 Lowell Street. And I got into politics because of housing insecurity, and we were never taught anything about government. We weren't taught that our local elected officials are there to work for us. And because I know exactly what it feels like to not have a voice in government, as a daughter of Cambodian genocide survivors that came here as refugees, daughter of a union member, I want to ensure that all voices are being heard, centered, and represented. I believe good governance only works when it's represented by all of the community members that represent the city. That it makes sense. So thank you, LCA, for having all of us.
Hi, I'm Fred Hogan. I'm the president of Ward 6 City Council. First of all, I want to say thank you to LCA. Good job. I'm the baby of 8 kids. I grew up on Grange Terrace off of Shepherd Street, near the Lynn Common and Marion Gardens. I hold my area real dear to my heart. I've been fighting in Lynn for 25 years to make a change, to make things happen. And I didn't do that by talking. I did that by taking action. And I tell people, if you're going to make a difference in your community, don't talk, take action. And that's what I did for 25 years. And just in January, I became the city councilor for my area, and I started the We Are Ward 6 campaign, and I brought that to the people in my ward and just let them know that I will be there for them. And I'm going to fight for Ward 6 first and Lynn second, but I'm always going to be for Lynn, and I'm all Lynn. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexis Reynoso. I'm running for Ward 7 Councilor. I'm an immigrant from the Dominican Republic. I came almost 20 years ago. Graduated from San Jose University now. In 07, had 2 kids that drive me crazy. I'm running first time, and I'm running because we have to be part of what's on our city. And for many years, many groups that live in land are being silent. And if you take a time and look around yourself in this room, you see people from all different races and different ages and different kinds of ethnicity. So it's important to bring that to the local government so we can all have a balance and solve our issues as one. So one thing is thanks to the RCA, thanks to Coco, thanks to the members of the church for this opportunity, and thanks everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. I didn't know, I thought this was an introduction. I thought to debate Darren about what side of the city is better, less than Riesling. It's not a little later, but I'm Jay Walsh. I am the current Ward 7 councilor. I've been the councilor for 2 terms, 4 years. Born and raised in West Lynn, bought the house next to my parents. I have a 9-year-old daughter. She's here tonight, Jayla. She's in the audience. My wife, who's here also. I'm a graduate of Lynn Tech. I'm a trade kid. I got my license for being a plumber. I went to work for GE for 16 years. In the 16 years when I was at GE, 4 of those years, I became the vice president of the union. I had a really good opportunity to work with a lot of different groups in the city. You live your whole life, you think you know everybody. And the more you dig into it, peel back the layers, the more people you meet. Currently work for my family's business here in the city as a plumber, and look forward to serving as elected again as the councilor on the side. Thank you.
All right. Alrighty. And on that note, a little housekeeping. We ask that the audience please hold your applause until the end of the debate so we can get through questions a little faster. That applause was okay though. For the first question, we're going to start with Mr. Losey on this side, and then we're going to start consecutively after that. So, question number 1, tell us what you like best and least about being a counselor for an incumbent, and if you are running for the first time, tell us what you like best and least about your ward incumbent counselor. You will have 1 minute to answer this question. And I will repeat it if it's helpful.
What I like best about being counselor is the challenge with the daily problems, quality of life issues, city issues, tackling and remedying problems that crop up. It is a privilege and an honor to be a counselor, so I really can't say any one particular area that is best. It's a great job. It's the best part-time job in the world. The least that I would like about it, I would have to say, is campaigning. Campaigning is not unpleasant. I work full-time, I work part-time as a counselor, and then I have another job campaigning. So we have to put up with the campaigning time-wise, but it's very essential and very necessary, and I'm happy to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's pretty simple. I like helping people. I like moving the city forward. In the last several years, got a brand new Marshall Middle School built, which when another school is built somewhere in the state, people come and look at it as an example of what a city can build for a school. It's got labs, it's got science rooms, it's got music, home ec again, shops, music rooms, things like that. I also like the fact that I've been able to get over 12 miles of road paved since I've been a counselor. To be honest with you, there's nothing I don't like being, or any part of being a counselor. So I really enjoy being a city councilor, and I want to continue. Thank you.
My question is the least what I like about Darren. I don't like Darren. He has a bigger truck than me.
But actually, I've been friends with Dan a long time. I'm not going to badmouth him. I think he's doing a good job. I just have different ideas that I'd like to present to Ward 3. But that's the only thing I don't like about Dan. He's got a bigger truck than me. So, thank you.
Hi, I like being a counselor because I like helping people. They call me, I help them, I do what I can for them, they know that. I have some people in the audience here that I help, and they know who they are. And I like serving, and what I don't like is when you can't help anybody, and you have no resources and stuff. That it makes me frustrated, but all in all, I love it. And what I also don't like, only one microphone this side of this table. Thank you.
Do you mind repeating the question one more time?
Of course. All right. And remember, the question is also over there for future reference. Tell us what you like best and least.
Okay, so what I would say I like best about my counselor is his commitment to public service, because you don't become a counselor if you're not committed to the community, and he has been for the last almost 3 decades. So I would say that's probably what I like best. What I like least is the fact that a lot of people in my particular part of the ward, which is 4-1, they don't know who he is. So, and that's a real problem for me, because everybody that lives in the ward should know who their counselor is. And I find that as a real problem. I also would like to see more initiative as far as engaging people to vote. Why is it okay that only a small percentage of people are voting in our ward? We need to do more to engage people to come out and vote. So that is what I like least about my current counselor. Thank you.
Thank you. What I like best about being a counselor is helping people, trying to resolve problems. My favorite thing is my neighborhood meetings from each part of the city. I enjoy sitting with all my constituents. We have a good time. We discuss what's going on in the neighborhood. What I like least is, I think somebody already said it, certain people have problems. They want a street paved. We can't always get a person's street paved or a sidewalk fixed or a tree cut down. Personally, if I could go cut the tree down myself, I'd send one of the guys. I would. But we try our hardest to do what we can do, and the resources aren't always there to help people. Thank you.
Dun, dun, dun. I like the thing I like most about Diana is how kind she is. I mean, she's a really sweet and loving person. Everybody can say that. And also, the least thing I like about that is the same thing, that she's also a sweet and loving person. I don't have an issue with Diana. If there's an issue, perhaps, is maybe the establishment. And let's be honest, there's a good old boy establishment in Lynn, and they're behind her, and who wouldn't be? But I would like to see you maybe stand up a little bit to them more, have more original ideas. But other than that, I have no beef with you. You are a wonderful person, and we just have different ideas on how to run the world.
Coco, you just broke the rules. Rules, Coco. So the best thing I like about Fred is that he is so supportive, he's so accessible, even to me, right? From the very beginning, Fred and I have always texted each other words of encouragement. And I remember one of the first things that happened was, like, I would call Fred and be like, hey, like, I'm really nervous, like, and he's like, no, you got this. And I was like, no, you have this too. And so there's this ongoing support that we have always had from the very beginning. And, you know, honestly, I decided to run for Ward 6 way back when, in late 2016, 2017, because there was nobody that has ever knocked on my door to proactively engage with new residents of Lynn. And that, to me, didn't show that there was somebody that was trying to engage with new voters. People want to vote, they're just politically apathetic and they don't know who their ward councilor is. I have nothing against Fred, all respect.
And to start off, our respect is very mutual. People might not know the story. The night that we came in 1 and 2, we met at the LCTV and we gave each other a big giant hug because we were happy for each other, genuinely very happy for each other, and that's a fact. Because we know no matter what happens in Ward 6, Ward 6 is going to be good with either one of us. But what do I like about being a councilor? I like getting things done. Before I used to say I was all about action. Now you call me, I come to your house, and I get things done. I get to your house and you're like, whoa, you showed up fast. Well, Ward 6, 5 minutes. Everyone can get to anywhere in Ward 6 in 5 minutes. I'll be to your house as quick as I can get there. I had a dog bite the other day over on River Street. They were shocked. I showed up right away with the dog officer. Got things done. The animal got quarantined. People were happy. Even the residents that had the bad dog weren't mad because we did it very professionally. But that's why I like doing what I'm doing. Now I can take it to another step. Thank you.
Well, I met Jay about 2 months ago in the Lynn Democratic barbecue in the Lynn Museum. I don't have anything bad to say about him so far. He's been a nice person, and we ended up having a lot in common because he worked for GE as well as me. And I think we are the same age, 38, close. So, close, running that around. So, besides that, I think the only thing I probably don't like about him is that I'm trying to take his seat. So, besides that, I think he's a great guy. I want to emphasize that him, anybody here, the candidates or incumbents, like, we're not doing this to be rich or anything, because it's not like you're gonna be rich. We're doing this because we care. So I wanna congratulate everyone, the incumbents and the candidates for what they're doing, and it's very important that everybody first gets involved.
Thank you. What I like about being a counselor, I think helping people. I think if you are a person that's out there helping people and you want to be in this job, that this is the job to help people. You know, I think the least thing that I like about it is the frustration when you can't get something done. I think Mr. Galucci said that. There's no reason for anybody up here not to fix everything people ask them. It just isn't. It's beneficial to the community, and it's beneficial to be an elected official. But sometimes you can't do that, and it's frustrating sometimes. You don't have the resources. But that's why we run again. We keep going, and we try to make sure you can make the best for everybody. But I enjoy my job. I really do. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Question number 2. We're going to get rolling. This is a 2-part question, so just pay attention to it, and we have it over there as well. Where do you stand on adding affordable, inclusive housing to luxury apartment buildings and being developed? How can you use your platform as a local politician to create policy change and advocacy for the homeless and the families struggling to make rent? So we're going to start with Mr. Singh.
Thank you. So I get 15 more seconds. So it's an extremely important issue, and it's a big one in the city. And with most of the developers that I've met with over the last several months, most of them realize until we're able to fix this problem that there's not going to be a lot more development taking place in the city of Lynn. That's number one. Number two, it makes sense to do some affordable housing with some of the projects, but not all of them in the city. Number three, we have a bigger problem than just the housing. It's the schools. We're the 3rd largest school district in the state. So we have a lot of issues. We got to sit at the table and we got to work something out. I know there's the Lynn Coalition, the Neighbor to Neighbor, there's the North Shore Labor Council. So as council president, I think everybody deserves a spot at the table and an opportunity. But until we bring everybody into the room, it's really hard to say what my opinion is as to how much affordable housing that we need. Thank you. Can you give me my 15 seconds?
Okay, I'm for affordable housing. Right now, the way housing is going, it's very unattainable. A lot of seniors can't afford it. A lot of seniors are being displaced. I have a lot of friends that are seniors. I'm in real estate. I own a real estate company, and a lot of people are moving out of the city because it's unaffordable. And I think every development that we have should have at least 20% affordable housing. And right now, Anybody that votes against affordable housing, I think shouldn't be elected because it's just, I have a lot of friends. I served on a council on aging for many years. Not too long ago, one of my friends, she lived on Clark Street. Her name is Pincetta. She was 85 years old. She lived there 45 years, and she was displaced out of her own house. She was a widow, and because the rates kept on going up, trash fees, taxes, and that's what I think we need to concentrate on. And you know, right now it's getting out of control. So I'm for affordable housing, and I think we should keep it up.
Whoa. Don't see that's with the mic. You know, I just want to let you guys know, I support the Haven Project in my church on 65 Monroe Street. Up above, they've been building 24 units for low subsidized studio apartments for college students. There's 350 homeless college students in the city of Lynn. Also, Rich Colucci, which in the beginning, when the 700 Washington Street was a parking lot, I made them sell it to our housing authority. When you see the building there now with 8 or 9 subsidized units. So I'm for helping the poor, and that's part of my mission. Thank you.
Where do I stand on affordable housing? Well, I am for affordable housing. I believe in the American dream. So what the American dream is to become a homeowner. So I don't want to see residents renting forever. It should be temporary. What I would like to do is advocate for more first-time home buyers programs so that people can be able to purchase homes. As far as luxury apartments, I don't know who they're making these luxury apartments for, because those people don't currently live in Lynn, and if they do, I don't personally know any of them. And I definitely believe that 20% of all new buildings should have affordable housing. We also need to make sure that we have CBA agreements, which is community benefits agreements, where that the community benefits from all of this housing that's going up and being developed. So yes, I'm for affordable housing. It is the American dream to make sure that people can survive.
We do need affordable housing. The problem is, define affordable housing. I was at Lynn Housing today having a meeting, and this was the whole discussion. We have seniors who can't afford their rent. Their pension is only so much. The economy keeps going up. If they own their home, they can't afford it. It's the economy's going up. But again, we were saying define it. I may not be able to afford what you can afford. You may not be able to afford what you can afford. So that's the whole thing right now. We need to define affordable housing. Is it seniors? Is it people just having trouble? Someone that just lost their home? Are they homeless? So we really need to define affordable housing for people.
I mean, first off, we got to be real. Everybody in Lynn right now, especially in the downtown area, is scared that they're going to get pushed out because we've seen this happen in Cambridge and Somerville and elsewhere. We need to stand firm as a city, and I know some of the incumbents don't like when I mention this, but that $2.5 million tax break with no community benefits is not a smart thing to do. There is nowhere else to develop. Lynn and the North Shore is the next place. Let's be smart. When developers come into town, we ask for something for the community, and we really need to have an inclusionary zoning program. And then lastly, we're the largest city in the North Shore, and we still don't have a planning department. So God knows who or what or where or what agreements people are signing to. So we really need to get a little bit more transparent. I know that's a key word that keeps getting me in trouble. We need to get more transparent about our development, and we need to get smart about who we're letting into our city so that our families and friends are not pushed out. Thank you.
I got so scared of the horn. So I definitely stand with all of our community members that want to continue to make Lynn their home, and I want to ensure that it continues to be affordable. I absolutely support inclusionary zoning. With any new luxury development that comes to our city, there is no reason to not be able to have mixed income. It is not about what surrounding cities are doing, it's about what we are doing as leaders in the city, investing in our community members that want to continue to call Lynn a home. I've heard so many stories about people with college degrees who can't even afford to move out of their parents' home, right? And we want to stay in Lynn. And it's really upsetting. We need to ensure that we have senior housing. They're on a fixed income. They're not going to be able to afford a rise in rents. So we need to ensure that what we are doing is that we're holding all of our leaders accountable to make sure that we are investing in our communities that want to continue to make Lynn their home.
Affordable housing. First of all, we have to take care of Lynn people. And that's Lynn people that are in this room. You have brothers, you have sisters, you have children. We have to make housing affordable for our people in this city. And that's who I'm looking out for first. I'm looking out for Ward 6 residents and people in Lynn first for affordable housing. I'm 100% behind affordable housing. My daughter had to move to North Carolina because she couldn't afford to live in Lynn, Massachusetts, where her whole family grew up for their whole life. All right? That's a shame that we have our children have to find other places to live because they can't afford to live in the city that they love. All right? And that hits home hard for me. You know what? It's another thing about taking action. Today I didn't sleep at all. I work 11 to 7. I went to the Union Hall today, stuffed envelopes for the 30th affordable housing forum we're going to have. I did that for 2.5 hours. I took a nap before I came here. Take action. All right? And we will fight for it. Thank you. That flag is so scary. That's so scary.
On this topic, I definitely pro creating some affordable housing, and in the case of these condominium building, it's complex because at the same time the city has to be able to attract investment, and you have to play around and get a give and take. So, but I don't see the reason why they shouldn't be able to include part of these apartments, some area for affordable housing. And it's important to emphasize that affordable housing is not a subsidized program with money from the government. It just means when you got housing that has to do with the income level of the average resident in the city. So I definitely think that we have to do something about the prices of the rent. Most importantly, we have to do something for the community to get better jobs. So that's a big part of the problem. We're getting more jobs, but they are low-paying jobs. So
I support affordable and inclusionary housing. I voted against the last 2 tax breaks for the developers. I think there needs to be community benefits agreements going on with them. I think there's the multifaceted issue going on. I know I'm going to get the flag, so I probably can't get into it all, and I'd love to. But I think, you know, the rents are causing huge issues for everybody. My neighbor next door had to move her son and his wife and their 2 twin daughters back into the house. It's like a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's happening everywhere. And those issues, they don't just affect those people, they affect the neighborhood too, right? Because everyone has 2 cars, and more and more. These issues aren't just issues for the downtown or any other, they're for all of the areas here. And you know, I'm proud to be someone who's supported trying to get some affordable housing in the city, and we still do.
Mr. Lozzi.
Affordable housing and inclusion housing, there has to be a balance. We can't just blanket state we're in favor of it without having a balance. We all want affordable housing, but there has to be that balance where a developer will want to build and construct these housing. And so I believe there has to be a balance. We also need to, as far as creating policy for struggling families, we need to ensure that our residents are educated and trained to get good paying jobs so that they can afford to live. This is important. And we also must not forget our seniors. There has to be more elderly programs to help our seniors. And that's what I believe on this question. Thank you.
All right. I just have to comment, I think I did a really good job of scaring you with the flags. So keep it up, we're doing good. So question 3, we're going to start with George, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Nemeteus. So question number 3 starts like this. If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city, any way you want, what would you do with it and why?
If we got $1 million grant, first that I would do is try to spend it, and right now, because our budget is out of control, and right now we're in a deficit, and somehow we need to spend money towards alleviating that and reducing the deficit. That's the main thing. I don't think we would spend on anything else. So that would be my first priority, because right now we have everything goes into a general fund, all the money is all taxpayers' money, and basically it gets all commingled. Nobody knows where that money goes. It's like a big cookie jar. That's what it is. Everybody puts their hands in it and grabs out of the cookie jar. And we don't know where the money's going, how it's spent, where it's spent, and there's no transparency like Marvin says. So that's what we need. So basically, yeah, reduce the deficit. That's my main.
I would just like, I'd put some more police on. I'd get the parks cleaned, I'd get the street cleaned. A clean city is in a safe city, that's what I'd do. Thanks.
Thank you. If I received a $1 million grant to use any way that I want in the city, the one thing I would pick, the most important thing I think currently would be to have more programs like Pathways, where we can provide English learning for so many of our members of the community that need that. I work in the ESL program in the evening at KIPP, and we have 175 adults that we're teaching to learn English, and it's so important. So we would be able to serve more students if we had more money. So what I would do is use that $1 million to give to open more programs, or give money to various programs that already exist so they can take more students and have a facility, because it is so important. Because if we have that, if people understand English and we have more translation services, we would be a better community as a whole.
Let's see, what would most people would think use the $1 million to stabilize the budget. I wouldn't, maybe we would try to do that, but I work with the seniors a lot. Right now, we need a new senior center. The senior center, we lost our director. We lost our acting director. We have to be out of the senior center June 2020. This is a big problem for the city right now. These seniors have all their resources there. We're in the process of looking different places, but this is something we really need, because one day we're going to be there. We are going to be seniors, and we need the resources for them right now.
The first thing I would do is look into getting a planning department. Right now, the source of all our problems is that we are finding it very difficult to continue to afford living in Lynn. We are the largest city in the North Shore, and we don't know how our development is being handled. Let's get a planning department. Let's make sure that everybody can continue to afford to live in the community that they love, and that people aren't going to be priced out and pushed out like they are currently right now. I know people are being moved all the way up to New Hampshire. A planning department can take care of all of that, including the senior center, because Diana's right about that. The seniors need a new place. And guess what? A planning department, historically, is what communities use to plan that, and we don't have that. So it's time to get organized with that. Thank you.
If I received a $1 million grant to use for the city, I would definitely invest in our community, right? And whether that is inspiring more young people to get into entrepreneurship, whether it's like a clothing brand that they want to start and they want to start it in Lynn, that right there is an investment into our community members, showing young people that they have an opportunity to lead, that we can start this and give back to our local economy. We continue to shop local, inspire young people to live their dreams, and provide a pathway and a bridge to help support that. Thank you.
As you guys know, $1 million sounds like a lot, but it's not. You give me $1 million, it's going to be spent very directly. A $1 million grant I'm going to public safety, and I'm going to programs like Stop the Violence Lynn, and things like that there, because the number one thing is people need to feel safe here in Lynn. And that's dear to my heart, because I live in an area that is rough. We've had gangs. I jog through the whole neighborhood. I run through gang territories all the time, all right? And guess what? I would do that to make more proactive programs, to make people feel safe in their homes, to be able to walk down the streets and be safe in Lynn. All right, and let me tell you, there's more stuff. There's community programs, community policing, Reclaim Our Community. Rosemary Sargent's here. She nominated me for the Rock Star Community Leader of the Month 20-something years ago. And I remember winning that award. And that probably started me off on the path that I wanted to do. I wanted to help the community. And that's where my money will go right into stuff that I care about. And I always said if I won megabucks, I'm going to do that there, right in my stuff. No gong today. Thank you.
And as some of the candidates here, I suppose, I would like to, if I had $1 million, it's not a lot of money, as Fred said, but I would like to put it into community and training programs. Similar to Fred said, trying to decrease the crime, do some prevention, and on the other side, in training, trying to get some of the residents to be able to get the skills for better jobs, to be able to break the gap between the expenses and the salary that is just increasing with time. Also, Natasha mentioned ESR, English as second language. There's many people that come from other countries that know stuff, that got skills, but because they don't know the language, they have to work for low-paying jobs. So that will be very important. So training and community programs.
I was sitting here thinking, what would I do with all that money if I had it as a council? Because there's a million things that I think everybody would want you to do, all types of things. I think community policing is a big one. I think that would, being a ward council, I don't say fix all my streets, but I think trying to use it for the rest of the city too, and having a community police program, it really, it makes a difference. I saw it growing up. I've seen community police officers. I spoke at the last forum about Officer Dan, the bike man, who used to come up the street and say, hey, what are you guys doing? And it makes a big difference. It has a mutual respect between the people on the street and the police department. I would also like to see maybe the schools open at night, like Lynn Tech. I know there's a few programs that we've supported in the past that are open there, but I think that's important to be able to get people to use the schools at night for different programs that they have. Thank you.
Although I would be very grateful, it must be put in proper perspective what $1 million would be. The annual budget for the city is over $300 million a year. So it would be very difficult to put that $1 million into any one area, which there are many deserving programs, public safety, education, whatever that would be. Therefore, what I would do with $1 million, I would spend it in a way that it would bring a return immediately and in the long term. For example, I led the charge in changing out all of the street lights from the type of lighting we had to LED lighting. We spent $1 million a year on the electricity. The LED lighting is $200,000 a year. That's $800,000 a year savings. I'm also leading the charge for green community. Once we become designated the first of this year, we're going to get $500,000 into our budget, into our general funds, to do things like replace school boilers, firehouse windows, buildings, things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I have to set the record straight. The city's not in a deficit. We actually had a $5 million surplus this year. It's the first time in over 3 years that we were able to balance the budget. We wound up hiring more cops because of that. That being said, with $1 million, I would put it definitely in public safety, into the police department, bring back community policing. Any money that's left over from that, I would use it to buy new equipment for the DPW or the police department. Thank you.
Okay. Question number 4. Violence and gang problems are rampant in our city. How can we make people safe in Lynn? Correct.
That's a tough one, Josie. I believe do the right thing, as I said before, but it's hard when people are, they have no upbringing, they're bad at heart, and it's hard to make a difference. But that's why Darren just said, police, we need more police to get these kids. If they're criminals, we got to get them off the streets. It's a no easy solution, but that's what I think we should do.
Violence and gang problems are rampant in our city. Yes, they are. Every time I turn on the news, you hear bad things happening, and we really need to acknowledge that. What we need to do is know our neighbors, have crime watches, and know who your neighbors are, know who lives on your street, know which kids are supposed to be where. When you see something going wrong, report that. We need to all work together. We need to support programs like Stop the Violence. We need to teach our kids at home that violence is not the answer. We need to go to church more. These are all things that we need to do to make our city safe again. I really want the city of Lynn to be a place of love and not violence. Thank you.
I'm going to kind of repeat her answer a little. It's basically be aware of your surroundings. Our neighborhood meetings, we have a lot of the police officers there, and that's one thing they tell them. Look around, look who your neighbors are. If you see suspicious activity, don't go out there. Call the police. Call and find out, they will find out what's going on. If we could bring back the LCT officers that used to ride their bikes, I think we discussed this at the last forum also. They knew all the kids in the neighborhood. They knew what was going on in the neighborhood. Right now, we don't have them. But be aware of your surroundings. Report whatever you see, whatever is suspicious. That's basically what we can do right now. And don't approach anybody. If you see a situation going on, call the police.
Well, first, we are having difficulty fully funding our police department. And I think right now the issues that we're seeing is a manifestation of years of neglect. People, especially young people in the city, don't have the tools or the resources to deal with their trauma. That is the source of these issues. I opened up about it at the last debate a couple of years back, leaving a party. Myself and my friends were shot at. I grew up with a lot of these kids. These kids, unfortunately, don't have the support systems that they need. And really, we need some real leadership here. We need to get everybody at the table to figure out how we're going to solve this together, because it starts at home, but it also starts with giving our young people, especially our young men, the tools they need to deal with their trauma and to express their emotions in a healthy way. Thank you.
I definitely agree with Marvin, and I don't think it starts with more police. I think it starts with prevention and meeting our community where they're at. I believe it starts with talking about trauma, and we have to think, like, why is this person doing this, right? We have to talk about the social emotional learning, because somebody may be going through something that we don't know. They may have food insecurity, housing insecurity, and that can manifest into other things, right? And so if we don't have invested adults in these children that are being proactive and providing a space for them to heal and grow and talk about their feelings and how to appropriately address those things. I don't believe like we need more policing. I believe we need to get our community together to talk about these issues and how we can work together and process these negative emotions in an effective way.
Yeah, this is a subject that is dear to my heart. And, obviously, I've been through a lot in the neighborhood with violence and shooting that happened on Warren Street Park, which that affected the whole neighborhood that I grew up in. And it is true. We need more people to get involved. We need people to be proactive. Stop the Violence Lynn. Right now we're working on a gun buyback program. We're in the early stages of finding things out. We're just trying to find out different things to do to make a difference. We also got a couple other things. We got a parent forum coming up after the election's over. We didn't want people using it as a political tool at that parent forum, so we got some things coming up. And we just need more people to get involved in the city and get involved with this problem. We've been doing this for 6 years now with Stop the Violence Lynn. We care. We care about this. It hurts when I see kids that I know being shot or stabbed. It hurts when I see kids doing the shooting. It's something that we really care about.
Just as Cinda mentioned, prevention is for me the key for all these issues. Why are kids joining gangs? How are we attacking this problem? and try to prevent them from joining gangs. That's why I emphasize training and options and recreational programs for these kids and also the parents, because usually the parents work 2 jobs, they're not at home. So what are we doing to help the parents deal with this situation? That's why I keep mentioning training. We can help the parent get a better job, they don't have to work 2 jobs. We can help the kid to learn some skills, trade something before they finish school, or by the time they're almost graduating anything, they can get a good job. It's gonna help the city economically, it's gonna help the city with drugs and preventing crime. And just want to emphasize something that Fred replied to a comment in Facebook to somebody with an angry comment about the crime issue. He said to somebody, at least we're doing something, what I would do, what are you doing, so that's very important.
I think the violence we're seeing in the city is multifaceted. I think a lot of it starts at home. I think, like a lot of people have said here tonight, there's a lot of working class families in the city here, and mom and dad and everyone are working, and the kids are home. They don't always have a lot of direction. It's something that we need to improve on, whether it's giving kids opportunity in parks, or whether it's opening the schools at night, like I said before. I think having Lynn Tech open, trying to give opportunity to people, and not just the children, how about the parents, better in their job situation. And that was kind of the idea behind the Washington Street project, the building that was built down there. And the developer gave money to the night school program for the community enrichment program, and was familiar with that. And that's something that I was able to work on with other people from the Union Hall and other community groups. And I think that's real tangible stuff we can do.
First, we need to strengthen our public safety. We need to bring back the community police officers on bikes going into neighborhoods and talking to residents and kids, teenagers, and very good program. We need to bring that back. We also need programs in education to teach values and a way of life that rejects violence. Gang and criminal elements, they're not young children. At some point they become criminals or enter these gangs. So what we need our community, like this church and other churches in this community, and teaching in our homes values, right from wrong, and alternatives to gangs or violence. These are important values that need to be taught to our young children, and we need to be an example to them. And that's where our focus needs to be, to end violence in any gang participation. Thank you.
Thank you. I truly believe it starts in the house, right off the bat with the families. The way a lot of these kids who turn into gang members are raised. That being said, the city is already working towards this issue and problem. We've hired 19 new cops. The Shannon Grant, which Jade mentioned. Friday nights, kids can go down to Lynn Tech. They can interact with police officers and other people from the city to get them off the street and meet other people from across the city. I grew up in East Lynn, and there was Westland. You had Lynn Classical, and you had English High School. So you had 2 sides of the city. But no matter which side you were always on, you supported that school. It was always the rivalries. So we got to bring back what's happening with the schools right now, where you have one classical and one English. Thank you. Not enough time, my friend.
In 2009, I ran for councilor at large. I received almost 5,400 votes, and 5,400 people believed in my message. My message was, and I was advocating against the crime and the gangs, and I always said, you need prevention and you need education. You can put 1 million cops out there, that's not going to prevent it. And it's been 10 years since I ran, and in 10 years, little has been done. Everybody's advocating now, we're going to do this and that. But what happened in the 10 years that I ran in 2009? Nothing's been done. Now, it's almost like we're on a defense. And it's hard, we're going to work together, come out with a better education system, and to push it. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Question number 5 says, if elected, would you restructure or dissolve EDIC, which stands for Economic Development and Industrial Corporation? and merge it into a city planning department with a city planner and staff? If yes, how would you advocate for this change? It's a long question, so. Natasha, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So, if elected, would you restructure and dissolve EDIC and merge it into a city planning department with a city planner and staff? I absolutely believe that the city needs to have a city planner and a planning department, as well as a grant writing department, because in order to get more money into our city, we need to write grants. Now, we should have a whole entire department with staff in order to pay for that, right? So we have a grant department, and those grants that are coming into the city will pay for itself, basically. So we do need a planner. We need to make sure that we are planning what we want our city to be. So any new developments, anything like that, that all needs to go through the city planning department. City planning, very important. Thank you.
I'm going to say no on this. I think EDIC would be a department by themselves. Yes, we do need a city planner, we do need a separate planner. But economic development also does many things. They do go out, they look for different companies, different places come into the city, but they also do small business loans. If you're looking to open your own business and you want to be in the city of Lynn, you go to EDIC. They're going to help you. They're going to help you find a place also where you can put your business. So they don't actually do all the planning for the city. They do other things. So I would keep EDIC separate, and then we could have a separate planner for the city. Thank you.
Oh boy, at the risk of having the item write a fourth story about me, man, I gotta keep it real with y'all. Yeah, we need to be, again, more transparent. We need a planning department. Right now, let's be real. EDIC isn't the most open or transparent or welcoming. A lot of folks even ask, like, is it a quasi-governmental agency? No one really knows. And again, I'm scared to say this because there's a lot of developer money in Lynn right now. These developers are coming in, they're making money, they make donations. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. But yes, if I were elected city council, that would be a fight that I would be willing to take, and a fight that I think is just, because if we are not careful, many of us in this room will not be able to afford this city. So thank you.
I would like to remind there's a second part to that question for everyone moving forward.
So I absolutely believe that we should definitely restructure and get a planning department. And specifically somebody that has a focus on inclusion, right? We need to have this person that is knowledgeable on the needs of coastal communities. We need somebody that is going to invite all voices to the table and really bring in like neighborhood or civic associations, community members, developers, as well as labor organizations to talk about responsible developers that have responsible hiring practices, right? We want to ensure that this is going to be development that works for all and not just some. And I believe we need equitable economic development so that we ensure we're going to protect our residents in Lynn, always.
Being the Ward 6 council, as you guys know, I'm down on the waterfront, and we have a lot of action going on down there. Right now, they're transforming the landfills down there. They work right behind me, and they're turning them into an open space park, which is about to happen real soon. But I would not dissolve EDIC, but I would like to make sure that they are held accountable a little more to make sure that they reflect a lot more stuff that's going on in the city. And a lot of good ideas are having a grant and a city planner to go along with it. And I'll tell you, I've been doing a lot of work protecting the area of the Linway with Gorelick Farms and all these new things that are coming in, all the CAPS location down there, to make sure that we get the right things that are coming into our city. And that's, people think that a ward councilman does little things. These things come to me first. I'm the ward council. I sit down with these meetings. But I have to make sure for all of us that these are the right things that are coming into our city. And I sit down with EDIC. Oh, thank you very much.
I think before we can make a decision on things like that, we have to analyze what are the benefits that are going to be from merging these two departments or doing a restructure of the department. And not opposed to analyzing and trying to change some things within this department or any other department if it's going to improve the efficiency of the department itself. So I'm all pro analyzing and trying to improve the productivity of every department. And as Natasha and Marvin mentioned, we do need some planning for the city, and I wouldn't mind if these two departments are merged. Because sometimes what happens within the government is that this department does not communicate with this department. And we all have to start communicating with each other in the local government in order to find common solutions.
I think EDIC and the planning department would be separate entities. I think we need a planning department. It's no secret. I think everybody knows that. I think just the people working on it, trying to get one. I was in Vancouver Island, in Canada, 2 years ago. I met a gentleman who built this beautiful bridge. Happened to have breakfast. Was very proud of the bridge. And he said, "Oh, where do you live?" And I said, "Landon." We were talking about planning department. And he said, "How many people live in your city?" I said, "Over 100,000." He says, "You don't have one planning person?" I said, "No." And got to talk, a little bit about that and what that meant. And it's just not going to be one person. If we do, we need a board of people. Because I think before, a number of years ago, we had a planning department in the city, going back into the 80s. And if I remember right, it didn't really work for the people. And I think that's something that we need to continue to advocate for and find the funding. Thank you.
I would not dissolve Lynn EDIC because of the great work they perform throughout the city, bringing wonderful businesses into this community. I have total confidence in our leadership of EDIC and the great work that they've done so far. A city planning department is important in every community. Each community has different needs, however. Lynn has basically been built out. We don't have that much open space or land available for redevelopment except on the Lynn Way. So what's important for us, for our city, is that we need a planning board or a planning department that can, that's good at finding grant monies, bringing grant money into the city, and that would help bring smart growth to the city. And that's what I would support. Thank you.
So the EDIC is funded by federal funds. It's not really in the city budget. In order to create a city planner and a staff and a new department, we'd have to find the funds, and we'd have to do that with the city budget. We've had a lot of discussions about this over the last year, and I know there's a lot of different people who feel different ways about it. My personal feeling, and it can always be changed, is that we hire a consultant company that comes in, that already has planners, that has a proven track record. And the way we pay them is we sign them up with a contract, and as they perform with whatever duties that we're asking them to do, they should be there to assist EDIC in the mayor's office and the city council as to how the future development of the city of Lynn should be. Thank you.
Yes. I would restructure ADIC. I would have it be a little bit more transparent. So when they do deals like selling the blood building, the people of Lynn had no idea what it sold for and what was going on. The other thing, to bring in funds, I'm from the corporate world, and in the real world, well, we use grant writers. And the grant writers that we hire the best, and they're all on commission. Nobody gets paid, so it doesn't cost the citizens of Lynn nothing. So in other words, you hire these grant writers, they're all on commission, and their job is to bring us millions of dollars, and they get paid off for commission. So if they bring us $1 million, they'll get $100,000. And it doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. And I think that's the next step of bringing money in Lynn, and it's done in the corporate world. It can be done here, so.
I noticed that all the incumbents wanted to keep EDIC and the challenges that want to boot them. I think EDIC is doing a good job. You look at the Uncommon Feast on Western Avenue. Anyone been there? They funded that. Market Basket, they were involved with that. Union Street, Walgreens. So they're doing a good job. As far as the planning department, I think, we need something like that, but like Darren said, the money, it's all about the money, this damn thing funny. So that's my opinion on that, is just keep EDIC and look for some money for other stuff. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you all. Question number 6 gives us brief description. I'm going to read the description and I'm going to read the question. So, the job description of a city councilor is generally act as a legislative branch of the city government, as well as its policy-making body, create ordinances and local laws. The question is, aside from answering phone calls, how do you describe the duties of an effective city councilor? And this starts off with Diane.
Aside from phone calls, let's see. Today, I had Mass Senior Action fundraiser. Then from there, I had a meeting at Lynn Housing. I went home for about an hour, then I came here. I'd probably say most of our days, I'm very fortunate, I have a flexible schedule. So I will say most of my meetings are during the day, during business hours. You don't know. I could be out all day. I could be out all night. I have neighborhood meetings. We may have something that somebody calls, something in the neighborhood, you go to someone's house. So the duties of a counselor, it all depends. I may have someone call, they need sidewalk shoveled. We'll go shovel it for them if they have nobody. So the duties of a counselor varies from all different things.
I like to compare it to being a waiter. It's like the city is a restaurant, you're paying for a service, and the waiter comes up to you, do you have enough water? Do you have enough food? Are you okay? Are you comfortable? And right now in our city, we're not asking those questions. If anything, we are probably telling people, no, there's enough water, there's enough food, and you should probably, move elsewhere. Again, my point is that when you're a counselor, you are there to act on the will of the community, and that includes everyone. That means you don't just wait some tables in the restaurant, you wait all tables in the restaurant, and you do it with all your heart.
Aside from answering phone calls, I believe an effective city councilor is somebody that proactively reaches out to their community members and get people involved, address political apathy, get people to want to participate, right? A lot of times, people don't know what's going on the city council agenda, right? You only know if you know, right? And so there has to be more accessibility in terms of sending out summaries that are digestible for our community to follow and invite them to publicly participate and say, hey, this is your government too. And politicians are not special. They're there to work for the people. And if they show up, if they answer your call, that is their job. And that is a privilege to serve the community of Lynn. And so aside from all of that, it's being proactive, ensuring that we have a transparent, accessible, and accountable government that works for all and not just some.
An effective city council. Boy, I learned real fast being appointed in January and taking the job straight on. You got to make the tough decisions. You got to take them head on. We had a grow facility that was going to go on Bennett Street. I met with the owners of the grow facility a couple times. They had a great plan. We're going to get a lot of taxes for Lynn. We need this stuff. We need taxes. We need all this. I've gotten phone calls from people that lived in that neighborhood that were fundamentally against that going in their neighborhood. I didn't answer their phone because I went to their doors and listened to what their point of view was. They did not want that in their backyard. So I took a decision and said, I'm going to say no to this going into their backyards. And I took a tough decision as a ward councilor because it was on me first. It goes on the ward councilor first when something's in your ward. And I was the first ward councilor to say no to a marijuana grow facility going in Ward 6. Thank you.
I would say that besides answering phone calls, why not don't wait for the phone call and act in advance. Go out there and check the surroundings of the city, the conditions of the parks, and talk to the people in advance, not after they call you, this is broken or this is wrong. I also have to say, I always want to keep going back to education and things like that. Because as a counselor, we can also serve as a leader for the community. So why not go to the school and speak to the senior students or the high school? that are about to graduate, playing the civic duties and things of that nature, so they can get engaged, since many of the residents don't get engaged in local politics or local issues. Why not make them have that curiosity? No? So that would be my approach.
As a counselor, I think you have to listen a lot. And, I had the opportunity to be at the Union Hall downtown Lynn, to meet with a lot of community groups. What's happening in this ward might not be the same as happening in other wards. Some things may have some similarities with them. It's not just all phone calls. We've got to be out there actually doing it. Like Minoso was saying here, we're out there driving over the same pothole as you. I call it in, we get it fixed, drive by the trash, I pick it up, I don't call it in, It's something we need to be proactive with, and I think, as a ward council, you have to be. I think listening, like I said, to the community, being out there, hearing what the other issues are. The difference between sometimes the ward council and a council at large is that the ward council is really focused on his area a lot, because it's really overwhelming sometimes. And then sometimes the at-large people have the more regional focus. So I think, being out there and listening is the big part of it.
An effective city councilor experience, leadership that finds solutions and remedies for problems that come up. Knowing how City Hall works so I can help residents navigate their way through the offices for resolution of whatever problem they might have. Working as a local legislator, passing ordinances that address problems in the community, like the illegal trash disposal ordinance that I sponsored and adopted in the city, that allows Lynn to fine illegal dumpers greater than the statutory amount. It actually allows us to fine individuals up to $5,000. And that money can go into a fund that will then help clean up parks and problem areas. That's an ordinance on the book. There are other ordinances that we pass. But overall experience and leadership is what's important to get to be an effective city council. Thank you.
Thank you. It's pretty simple. Job description is to serve the public. It is experience, years of experience, knowing which department head to deal with. It's when you get a call 3 o'clock in the morning because a tree has fallen on a power line, there's knocked power out to a neighborhood. You get up, you go down there, you start making the calls, you make sure the electric company is there. If a tree needs to be taken out, you're talking to the DPW. When you have over 200 homes that are flooded and people have lost their food and everything, it takes days to get those basements drained out, snow removal, making sure that the streets are plowed, working with the mayor on the budget. We approve the budget. We can't add anything to the budget, but we can cut the budget out. As I said earlier, we finally have balanced the budget, and it was more because of the efforts of the council, the different committees that we set up, and the amount of hours that we put into working with the city. Thank you.
It's pretty simple. To be an effective councilor, 3 things you have to do. Listen, listen, and listen. It's it. It's simple. The other thing, too, about the budget's not balanced. We own $15 million we borrowed. I don't know how it got balanced. I don't see we got a balanced budget when we owe $14 million. So I think we have to work on balancing the budget, and I think it's an election year, so things will be said just to make it look nice and sweet, but the budget is not balanced by no means.
I know this. I love doing what I'm doing. When the people call me, I know it's important to them. I know I might be frustrated, but I know it's important to them. So I call them back, or I talk to them. I go see them personally, and I fix what they need to be fixed. I've been doing this for years. I'm experienced, accessible, and responsive to my constituents.
I think to be an effective counselor, what you need to be is, you need to be an approachable person. I know it's really important, they said not to talk about phones, but calling people back is important because nobody likes when you call them and you don't get a call back. That's not cool. And you can also text people now, and social media is we need to use that more, especially for the younger generation, like my daughter. They don't use Facebook anymore, they're Instagram or whatever they're using. We need to make sure that we're using the same thing, to be approachable, to call people back, to be transparent, to know that your voice matters. Bring all voices to the table. Let's have community meetings. Let's buy some devices so that we can translate in different languages and we can share them. We all need to work together. I loved what Marvin said about serving all the tables. You go to a restaurant, you be served. That's it. Serve everybody, not just the people that live on your street.
That was very close. All right, last question, and then we're going to move on to yes and no's. Finish the sentence, and we're going to start off with Marvin. Lynn, City of?
Change. We need change. God. It's so exhausting. We keep electing the same people over and over again. And let's be honest, at the risk again of getting another article printed about me, there is an establishment in the city. People have been in office for 27 years. Maybe their father was a councilor. That's fine. But the problem is not all voices, not all experiences are being heard, and not all experiences are being heard. Lynn, City of Change. Vote November 5th.
Thank you. Next person.
Lynn, City of Moving Forward Together. My original one, never mind.
Lynn, City of Diversity, City of Many Faces, City of Everything, City where you can go down the street to a Puerto Rican party. You can go down the corner to a Dominican party. You can go to a Cambodian party. You can go to an Irish party. Being a politician this year, wow, it was amazing. You go to all these different things. You go to an Italian party. It's unbelievable. We have an unbelievable city. We can't let people take us down. It's diversity, you guys. It's all our families. Our families are so diverse now. Everywhere you go. I live on LaGrange Terrace off of Shepherd Street. I love it. I got white family, I got black family, I got Spanish. It's just so good. And we have to build on that. Don't let people knock our city down. This is a diverse city, and it's a great city to live in. And let's understand that there. And don't let people knock our city down.
Next person.
Lynn, City of Shine. I think we have the opportunity, the potential to make Lynn shine within the local communities. So it's very, as Fred said, we have a great diversity. We have a group with young people. We have Lynn Tech. We have many companies. We have all these great people from different agencies. We all have to come together and work together to make Lynn shine and not just be a regular city. We can do more, but we have to do it together.
Lynn, City of First, I think it's been used before. We've always been a city of first, right? I know it's kind of cliche, I guess, but it's true. We've been a city of first. And if, change is coming and we're going to make it, let's make it the first. Let's make us the first community to do that. And I think that's something that we've done, as a city over the years, and I think we should continue to do that.
Lynn, City of Wind. We need to recognize our assets and strengths of our city and ensure that they are maintained or improved on. Ward 1 has many jewels throughout the city, or within Ward 1. We have Sluice Pond, we have Flax Pond, we have Gannon Golf Course. These are wonderful assets of the city. And we need to ensure that we maintain or improve on these assets and strengths of the city. For example, Gannon Golf Course is undergoing almost $500,000 of repair and improvements each year. And that's paid for itself by the membership and the greens fees and everything else. We have so much more to offer in our city. We need to focus on that, and we need to think positively, not with that lingo that really is not helpful to the city. And wherever you go, you hear it. Thank you.
City of Hope. The reason I say that is because there are so many people who come here from all around the world looking for that American dream. It's the most diverse city, I think, in the country, to be perfectly honest with you. It's one of the oldest cities in the country. We have over 100,000 people that live here. We have every religion, denomination, nationality. We have a large gay community. We have all the same issues that every major city has across America, New York, Chicago, or LA. But yet, we're able to deal with it every single day. There is a gang problem, but it's not as bad as it is in those other cities when you break down percentage-wise of how many people live here. I mean, I am so proud of this city, and we've had issues throughout its history. As I said, we're one of the oldest cities in the country, but we managed to survive, and we work together.
Lynn, the city of dreams. This election, let's make our dreams come true. Our city is in a deficit. A lot of our people having a hard time making it affordable. They were moving out of Lynn, and it's time for the voters to not walk to the polls, but run. This election, run to the polls and change, and that's what I'm asking. Thank you.
I heard a lot tonight. I say, Lynn, the city of trust. Let's trust each other and do the right thing.
Lynn, the city of progress. So I say progress because I think that we're progressing. We're not where we need to be yet, but if you take a look at the 11 people sitting up here, you can see that this is what diversity looks like. This is great. Like, we have people who are running for office because they want to make a difference. And if you're sitting out there like you're one of those interested people, you're like, oh, maybe I could run for office. Well, I'm here to tell you that yes, you can. And you should run for office because we need more people to run for office because that's what it's all about. Get involved, run for office, and help Lynn become what it's becoming, right? Because I feel like we're not there yet, but we're going to get there. So please, go vote. And bring 3 people with you, or however many people can fit in your car. And then when you're done with that, find more people. Drive around and tell them, hey, it's election day, come vote. November 5th, that's it. Change is definitely coming to Lynn. I know you can feel it.
Lynn, city of pride. Lynn may not be perfect, but I'm proud of the city I live in. I'm not sure about anybody else, but we need to take pride in our city. We have to work at it. We will get there, but we need to take pride in our own city.
All right, thank you. You can give them one round of applause, one quick one. As we transition into this next segment, we're going to go right into it, okay? This is a series of yes and no questions. You don't have to say anything. You have your yes card on this side, and you've got your no card on this side. I'm going to ask that when you pull it up, you pull it nice and straight so that everybody in the audience can see it. I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to give you a few seconds to hold it. I'm going to ask you to hold it so that everybody can see it, but also so that we can take a picture of it as well. All right? So if you have a no, then you pull up the no as well. Does everybody have their yes and no handy? Show me your yes and no's as an example. Yes and no's. Perfect. Okay. All right. So, first question is, do you support giving tax incentives to condo apartment developers? Yes or no? Do you support giving tax incentives to condos or apartment developers? Yes or no?
Leave it up.
Leave it up, nice and high. All right, next question. Do you believe in climate change? Do you believe in climate change? Yes or no? Question number 3. Are you in favor of the trash fees? Yes or no? Are you in favor of the trash fees? Yes or no?
Seriously? You got?
No, one, pick one.
You can't.
It's an unfair question if you know all the reasons why.
All right, we're going to move on.
The state mandated to us that we had to have a trash fee if we wanted to balance our budget 2 years ago.
Okay, we're going to move on to question number 4.
And the money is only used for trash, nothing else. It's $2.2 million a year on a $7 million a year fee that we have.
And we're going to move on to question number 4. All right. Question number 4 says, are you in favor of putting solar panels at Lynn schools? Okay. Question number 5. Do you believe our government should reflect its population? Do you believe our government should reflect its population? All right. Number 6. Do you feel the city does enough to let its residents know when and where to vote? Do you feel the city does enough to let its residents know where and when to vote? Question number 7. Are you in favor of opening a pot shop in your ward, or have you approved the presence of a pot shop currently in your ward? Okay. Number 8. Why do other cities and towns, some of them even smaller in population compared to Lynn, have more city councilors? The yes and no part comes here. Should Lynn increase the number of city councilors to fully serve its population? Yes and no. Perfect. Number 9. Currently, there's no help for the disabled homeowners under the age of 75. Are you in favor of property tax exemptions for the permanently disabled on SSI or SSDI despite of their age?
We already do that.
Are you in favor?
Yes.
All right. Question number 10. Do you believe that elected officials in Lynn should have term limits?
Yes.
Raise the card.
It's called elections. It's called elections.
All right. Have cards down. Number 11, last question. If indeed your reason for running is to serve, would you be willing to give up your salary as city councilors in order to save the city money? Would you be willing to give up your salary as city councilors to save the city money? Okay. All right. Big thank you to all of you. I'm going to let you continue off with your closing remarks. So the last person who went was Marvin, correct? So now we are going to go with Cinda. Cinda, you have 1 minute for your closing remarks, and then we're going to move progressively from there. Okay?
Thank you. So again, hi, my name is Cinda Don, and I'm a candidate running for Ward 6 City Councilor. Lifelong Lynn, a graduate from Lynn Public Schools and UMass Boston with a degree in human services, because I know if it's anything that I ever wanted to do, it's to help people, and I'm invested in our community in Lynn. I want to work to ensure that Lynn can be a place where our future generations can call it home if they want to continue to stay here. We want to make sure that it's affordable and inclusive. And I want to ensure that our children have access to quality education, that we promote stable jobs and developers that have responsible hiring practices. And I want to ensure that we are representing our entire community so that we ensure that Lynn is a government that is going to be working for all communities, where all voices are being heard and centered. Thank you.
We're going to hold applause until the end, please.
Obviously, I'm not a polished politician, because I never was a politician. I'm a community activist. I'm a community guy. If I say do it, I do it. I don't make false promises. I don't do that there, all right? When I said I was going to do action and got people involved, I did a community meeting at every section of my ward. I had a community meeting at Pine Hill at Sewell Anderson. I had a community meeting at Connery School. I had a community meeting at the River Street area. I had a community meeting at the Marion Gardens area. Why? Because every section of our ward is different. We have flooding here. We have crime here. We have turkeys and trees falling down in Pine Hill. We have all different things happening all throughout our ward. So that's what I did. I made sure I was going to be the guy that got out there and saw your face and got to meet you, because that's who I am. all right? Fred Hogan is the guy that gets things done for Lynn and for Ward 6. Thank you.
On November 5, please go out to vote. Doesn't matter if it is for any of the candidates here, but get involved, get engaged. Tell your sister, your brother, your kids. It's time for us to really get involved with the local issues. I think the city needs some change. If you look around, as I said earlier, things have changed, and we have to represent and be able to sit there in the government. And there needs to be a change in the way we attack problems. We can no longer keep cutting the branches and not attack the root. It's time to change the way we attack issues. And I think besides having experienced leader, we need new blood in the government. So, because things change and we need to be updated. Thank you.
I want to just say one thing about running for office. If you haven't had the opportunity to do that, it takes a lot. I commend everybody here tonight. You have to put yourself out there. And I don't know, people see us up here, we have to answer these questions, and we're going to be accountable to those answers that we have up here tonight. And your family's going to too. If you haven't had anyone in your family running for office, people are going to like your decision, they're going to disagree with the decision. So it's a tough thing, and I commend everybody here. I'm Jay Walsh, I'm the Ward 7 City Councilor, and I'm going to continue to do what I do as a councilor. I'm somebody who returns phone calls, I'm somebody that's out there, I meet with community groups. I do it because I care about the community. I was doing this before I was a councilor in my neighborhood. It's the person we call and be involved and do these things. I ran the Christmas parade, I'm still the head person over there. And even if I'm not elected, I'm still going to be up there. It's just what you do if you care about your community, whether you're the person up here or at the city council. Thank you.
Wayne Losey. I am proud of the results and accomplishments that I've been involved with in Ward 1 and throughout the city. It is an honor and a privilege to serve as your counselor. I enjoy working for residents, and I'm proud of the results, the problems solved, issues addressed. I return all my calls, emails, messages, and I would like to continue to serve as your counselor and as a strong voice. And I humbly ask that you vote in the election in less than 3 weeks, Tuesday, November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Sitting up here, all the incumbents want the same thing as all the challenges. Every year I sit up here, year after year, election after election, the new candidates talk about change. And then when they get there, they realize it's not as simple as what they think it is. We have to pay taxes. We have to provide jobs for the people who work here in the city and services to the people who pay the taxes. There has been change, though, in the last few years. You see the development taking place on Monroe Street. You see a brand new Marshall Middle School, $100 million school. You finally see the Beacon Chevrolet site, which is they're starting to work there. And the budget was balanced because the state wouldn't have allowed us to set the tax rate if it wasn't. We did borrow $14 million to cover that from 2 years ago, but we've been making the payments. Thank you.
My name is George Remeteus. I run for Ward 3. I ask for your vote. I am an immigrant from Greece. My wife's an immigrant from India. So diversity is big in my family. So this election year, it's time to get new faces on the council. The other thing too, I'm against the trash fee. When elected, I'm going to push to get that repealed because it's an unnecessary tax. The people talk about that we need taxes. Look at your taxes. So this election, before you vote, open your tax bill, look at your tax bill, how it's been rising. Look at your trash fee. And then open your window, look out the window, look at your streets and your sidewalks, and then go and vote. And this election, don't walk, run, because you know what? The last 10 years when I ran 2000, nothing's changed. My mortgage, when I bought my house, my taxes were $5,300 a year. They're $10,400 now, and 10 years later. That's not change. We need change. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rich Calucci. I too pay taxes. I too pay a trash fee, and I want your vote. I'm a city councilor. I'm honest. I do what I do for you folks. I love what I'm doing, and I want you to vote for me November 5th. You won't be disappointed. Thank you.
Hi, again, my name is Natasha Madri. I live on Beacon Hill Ave. I'm running for City Council in Ward 4 because I really want to make a difference, and I believe that I am ready to roll my sleeves up and get ready to work because a lot of work needs to be done. If you need a ride to the polls, please feel free to call me. I put my number out there on all the thousands of palm cards I've been putting out. It's 617-755-3853. Again, I really want to thank all of you for being here because it shows that you care about who you put in office. And remember one thing, when you go to vote, nobody knows who you're voting for. So I've heard, it's between you and you, right? Go and vote for who you think is the best candidate, and that's it. If you think if I am the best candidate, please, I'm respectfully asking you for your vote, and you will not be disappointed. That I can promise you. So November 5th, please vote for me. Natasha Madri, thank you.
Hi, Diana Chakutis, Ward 5 Councilor. Mine's going to be short and sweet. I enjoy what I do. The city is not perfect. We do need to do some more work. We also need to do it together. Please consider me on November 5th. Thank you.
My name is Marvin Road Ippolite. I'm running for Ward 5 City Council, and I'm running to put power back in your hands. Right now, not all our voices are being heard, and we're watching our rents and our property taxes go up. It is time to vote for change. It's time to vote for yourself. When I win City Council, I promise to hold regular monthly meetings in every part of the ward, so you know exactly where to find me. I plan to create a service team made up of volunteers from our high schools and our seniors, people who speak different languages, to get out to the door to you. I'm not gonna be waiting for you to come to me. I'm gonna put power back in your hands. I respectfully ask for your vote this November 5th. This is my 3rd time doing it. I started when I was 22, I'm 27. You see what the city is doing. You see what these people are saying because they're scared of change, and it's time. It's time to vote for you. When I become councilor, you become councilor too. Thank you.
All right. And with that, we'll give a round of applause to everybody up here for your time, and as well to